Welcome to Not Just Money with your hosts, Doretta and Lee. This isn't your typical podcast about finances. It's a podcast about all the money conversations we aren't having, sometimes not even with ourselves. Join us on this journey of hard truths, lived experience, and the wisdom that comes from both. Because money is never just about money.
Hey Lee.
Hi.
So FIFA World Cup kicked off yesterday. Today's the first game here in Toronto. My neighborhood is absolutely bursting with it. The Great Beaver Quest is a scavenger hunt all over Old Town. Beavers painted up like each of the competing teams.
Good grief. And how many have you found? Because we know your competitive spirit is going to kick in right about now.
33, including the elusive world beaver. They're really fun. I'll post a few pics in the links.
How many are there?
There are 48 teams and 3 others. One for Old Town, one for Welcoming the World, and one for FIFA. I haven't found the FIFA one yet, but I have found Welcoming the World and the Old Town one is really easy to find.
Yeah, I've seen one. They're not as big as you would think.
They're not like
they're
those
bigger than
moose.
like a real beaver. But yeah, when you first told me, they're like the moose. I was imagining a giant beaver. So when it only came up to like my mid-thigh, I was kind of like, oh, it's cute.
They're going to auction them off for charity at the end, which is lovely. I think they did that with the moose too, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, but finding a place for that beaver is probably a lot easier than finding a place for that giant moose. Like
Sure.
you would need a hell of a backyard to put that moose there. But honestly, I am not ready for the crowds. Like my dad's a huge soccer, football fan, whatever you want to call it. He used to wake me up at 3 a.m. as a kid to watch games. Not really my thing. So I won't be blocking off my calendar to watch.
I remember watching my first World Cup. It was 1978, and we were backpacking through Italy, and the bars and the restaurants were just crammed because in those days in Italy, not everybody had a television, and Italy did really well that year. I think they finished 4th overall. The crowds were so full of joy. It was just so much fun.
Yeah, I don't know if we should be talking about Italy this time. But hey,
Right?
that sounds like the right kind of crowd. And if you're an Italy supporter, I'm very sorry. Doretta didn't know.
I did know. They lost to Bosnia-Herzegovina, I think. Is that right?
Who's actually, I think, playing
Canada.
today.
Yeah.
Okay, so as interesting as that is, what I'm interested in is how these big events attract the wrong type of crowd. My fraud radar has been flashing for weeks now.
Spoken like a true Finlit nerd.
Hear, hear.
But you're not wrong. I saw that big warning from the Canadian Anti-Fraud Center, the one in the FBI, a whole pile of international cybersecurity task forces all released.
Yeah, they called it a total cyber criminal's dream. And if you follow the money, you can see why. There were 4 million physical seats distributed across Canada, the US, and Mexico. Although FIFA hasn't really been transparent with these numbers as they continuously adjust inventory and then do these surprise ticket drops, it's all very confusing. But based on FIFA's website, there were 500 million ticket requests. That's not even close. So look at what we've got. You've got extreme scarcity and huge amounts of money moving electronically from all over the world. You might as well put big signs that says, "Attention fraudsters, please take my money. Scammers delight."
Yeah. Major FOMO trap for sure. Fear of missing out on steroids. And these scammers are a whole new breed. Long gone are the days of scalpers standing out BC Place or BMO Field with little bits of paper. Today's scammers are highly organized, they're transnational criminal syndicates. It's interesting, as security researchers just completely mapped out one of these organizations. It's this huge distributed infrastructure, Operation Codename Ghost Stadium. And this one, yeah, I
Yikes.
know, right? This
I love
one,
these names.
they're fun. This one group alone registered, are you ready for this? They registered more than 4,300 completely fraudulent look-alike FIFA domains. And this was before the ticket rush even started.
That's bananas. And considering, like, I can't even think of like 400 domains, even with the different characters and misspellings. 4,300 is ridiculous.
Amazing what
And
AI can do, right? It can do all your
that's
permutations for
that's
you.
fair.
Yep.
Yeah, yeah. You'd think there would be a red flag somewhere with AI, but anyways. And are a lot of people falling for these digital traps?
Because the fakes are brilliantly. They aren't the grammatical garbage phishing emails from the early 2000s. They're darn near perfect clones of the official FIFA ticketing portal.
But how do they get by the browser's security tools? Like, shouldn't they get caught? Like, isn't that a thing?
I wish. The standard automated browser security tools don't even flag them. Because here's the thing, they aren't just copying the official logos and color hex codes. They're actually using back-end scripts to pull directly from FIFA's actual live servers. So you think you're logging in securely to buy a secondary market ticket, say, or maybe you just want to check the status of your existing application. But what you're really logging into is a sophisticated credential harvesting trap. And listen, this is what they do. They grab your login email, they break your complex password. They lock you completely out of your real FIFA account. And then they turn around and resell any digital tickets that you actually legitimately owned to some third party.
Ugh, that makes my stomach turn. Can you imagine flying across the country, heck, flying around the world, and showing up at the gate, maybe with your kids, opening your phone, scanning your digital wallet, and being told your ticket's a fake? That the real one was stolen by some hacker 3 weeks ago. And that's just the emotional part. There's obviously the huge financial part. These games are not cheap. I was reading an article where some families have saved for months and they were generally looking to spend $10,000 or $20,000. Okay, on a side note, people, if you can save this much money for a sporting event, and I can't lie here, I am rolling my eyes. You can totally save in general. There is no more excuses. I feel the need to say that.
Hey, come on, priorities. Like for some people, this is a genuine once in a lifetime event. And if you've saved for it and you've budgeted for it, more power to you. But if you're going into debt, yeah, maybe not. Maybe you should think a little bit harder about saving. But back to FIFA ticket fraud. This is potentially devastating. And the scary part is it isn't even limited to ticket phishing portals. The Toronto police have been working with the federal border authorities on, for example, counterfeit sports merch. They just announced the single largest seizure of counterfeit sport merchandise in Canadian history. $3.5 million worth of fake jerseys, hats, scarves, athletic gear, all of it sitting in a highly coordinated network of commercial warehouses.
Okay, I know everyone wants to save a buck or 50. Some of the official merchandise can be so expensive. And since affordability has gone completely through the roof lately, but let's remind people about the real harm that counterfeit products represent. And I don't mean the bad quality or the miswritten logos or names or a few loose threads.
Yeah, we've talked about this before when we were looking at fraud, remember? And I
Hmm.
actually I do encourage people to go back and actually listen to the fraud episode because this is just getting worse and worse. Counterfeit goods are not just illegal because they break Canada's intellectual property laws and the border enforcement laws, which, to be honest, are really not that good at keeping out the goods in the first place. The real problem, well, once again, just follow the money. When you buy this stuff, you're not supporting your team or international soccer. You're supporting international criminal networks. So when you click on one of those 50% off tournament flash sale Facebook and Instagram ads, here's what's really happening. You just handed your raw, unencrypted credit card data, billing address, and CVV code straight to an international criminal network. And in exchange, if you get anything at all, it'll be a cheap, synthetic, poorly manufactured knockoff.
So, in trying to save $40 on a souvenir shirt, and let's be honest, we've all been there, you effectively have handed over the digital keys to your entire financial life to a data brokering cartel.
Yep.
Incredibly expensive discount. And remember, because everything is so interconnected in our global financial systems, one hack can lead to other very devastating outcomes. And it taps right back into what we discussed during our multi part series on social media advertising, right? Like, just because a digital storefront looks perfectly polished, it doesn't mean the operation behind it is legitimate. Scammers use automated ad tools, and right now they are squarely targeted on soccer fans based even on their team preferences. They are literally matching your profiles across every platform you visit using background tracking pixels and cookies. And if you've shared a lot of love for your local team, they're going to know, they're going to see it, and they're going to use it against you.
They know if you've been browsing forums looking for tickets, they know which national team you support, and they'll serve you up a perfectly tailored ad at 11 p.m. when your cognitive defenses are down. It's basically programmed psychological warfare.
So let's break down the ticketing mechanics because I think there is a lot of confusion that stems from people not understanding how modern event logistics actually operate. Now, FIFA has stated repeatedly that all official tickets for this tournament are 100% digital, dynamic, and strictly managed inside their proprietary closed loop official app. Wow, try to say that fast 10 times. There is literally no such thing as a legitimate PDF ticket or a printed paper voucher for these matches. They are dynamic QR codes, which is, if you've seen, it looks like it's refreshing constantly when you do open it and will generally appear in the app 24 to 48 hours before kickoff or when the gates open. Now, if a reseller on a classified site or a social media group tries to email you a screenshot of a barcode or a downloadable file, it's fake, guaranteed.
The syndicates are exploiting what behavioral scientists call scarcity induced cognitive regression. And that's just a really fancy way of saying that when we really want something that's really rare, the logical processing centers in our brains get completely hijacked by emotional urgency. Basically, we stop looking for the red flags because we don't want to see them. We are so desperate to get this rare thing. And, that's why scammers put all those fake countdown timers on their websites. Things like only 2 tickets left at this price, or 14 other people are viewing this listing right now. That's the trick. It's to force you to act rather than to stop and look carefully at telltale signs like the URL structure.
Yeah, classic pressure tactics. With a once in a lifetime event happening right in our own backyard, it's so easy to tell ourselves, I don't care what it costs. I don't care if the site looks a little sketchy. I need to be in that stadium. I deserve to be there. And that emotional desperation is what criminal networks are prying on.
Okay. So that's ticket sales and online counterfeit merch. There's another big one that's really catching people off guard right now, and that's accommodation scams. Um, so Canada's games are in Vancouver and Toronto, and hotels had been sold out since FIFA booked them all. But I guess they haven't sold as expected because the hotels are now releasing a lot of rooms.
Yep.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's also because FIFA got some pretty bad press. No one likes to see the fans treated poorly, and I think FIFA's organization, in my humble opinion, has made decisions honestly bordering on criminal, but that's a whole different story. And probably why we ended up with so much extra rooms and such.
You should hear my husband on FIFA. That's a whole other thing. But okay, so before the release, anyway, of all these rooms, there was a huge explosion of fake short-term rental listings on secondary classified sites and fake booking platforms. So basically, what happens is that scammers scrape real estate listings or old legitimate rental ads. They copy the photos and they post beautiful condos for rent near the stadiums at prices that look really attractive compared to the hyperinflated hotel prices.
Yep, the classic phantom rental play. And now you have to send a wire transfer or an electronic deposit to secure the booking. The host seems incredibly responsive and lovely over email. And then the day before you arrive, the account vanishes into thin air. You show up at a residence with your luggage, knock on the door, and find a completely random stranger who has no idea who you are answering the door and has never listed their home online, or maybe hasn't in the last 5 years. Like, I mean, it's bananas.
And it's happening too often. It really is. But again, notice the psychological trick here. They don't price it so low that it immediately triggers suspicion, but it's low enough that it looks like you've got a lucky find, a last minute cancellation, something like that. They prey on your relief at finally finding a place to stay.
Or the fact that you got a better deal than your friend, right? Like we always say, the power of a discount, it's still not a discount. But in this case, I mean, it's fraudulent. It's totally different. You can see it as being pure attention arbitrage, like mixed with that social engineering, right? They capture your attention in high stress moments and divert it straight to their payment getaway. Because you mentioned it's like, oh, the last two or 10 people are looking at this property now, right? It's all that whole urgency and scarcity mindset that they're pushing. And what kills me, though, is how these networks leverage digital payment systems that offer zero consumer protection, right? They will insist that you pay via bank wire, direct peer to peer transfer, or cryptocurrency, claiming that their
What
credit card processing system is temporarily down.
cryptocurrency to spend on rooms? Seriously.
You have to also remember that there are other countries that have adopted crypto, I don't think particularly well, but they've tried, especially in South America. So remember, when you have international events, that may not be weird if you look at where those individuals are coming from and what's accepted in their home countries, right? Sometimes we often see very much the world, whether financial or otherwise, with a North American lens. I don't think that's always the case. And so, yeah, for me, 100%. If someone was just like, please pay me in Bitcoin, I'd be like, yo, this is totally a scam. But that may not be the reaction from someone whose home country is somewhere else. Um, and then, of course, when you use these channels, once that money leaves, and we know like crypto, it's untraceable. I mean, it's gone forever. There is no fraud department to call, no chargeback mechanism to initiate. It is financially identical to taking a wad of cash and dropping it into an open sewer. And no, your bank is not going to cover it.
That brings us to how we can actually protect our digital footprints when we're traveling to or attending these huge matches. let's talk public Wi-Fi. When you have
Oh.
50,000 people crammed into a public plaza, all trying to upload videos, check match stats, log into their digital banking apps all at once, cellular networks get really congested. So, what do people naturally do? They go into their phone settings and look for open public Wi Fi networks.
I know this is a big pet peeve for you, Doretta.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, I mean, if people are trying to imagine what that's like, think about New Year's Eve. I feel like that's the best one where everybody is sending Happy New Year at midnight. And so it takes like 5 minutes, half an hour before all the texts and calls get sent out. And so this is exactly that. And so when you're using public Wi Fi networks, what could happen is it could be what they call an evil twin network attack. So a bad actor sits in a coffee shop or a parked car near the fan zone with a portable router device called a Wi-Fi pineapple. And this is really actually interesting. If you're curious, you should totally Google it and watch some of these videos. Very entertaining. I fell into a rabbit hole on this one. And what they do is they set up an open, completely unencrypted network and name it something like FIFA underscore fan zone underscore free Wi-Fi or stadium like BMO Field underscore public underscore guest. And your phone automatically connects to it because it has no password restriction. From that exact second, every single piece of unencrypted data leaving your device passes directly through the hacker's machine. They can execute what is called man-in-the-middle attacks, right? So they capture your session tokens, read your incoming emails and messages, and skim your credit card details as you type them out. Creepy.
Is so dangerous. But the truth is, the average consumer thinks public networks are safe just because they have familiar sounding names. No, just no. Listen, people, we have to treat the digital airwaves in these crowded zones as high threat environments. If you absolutely must access your financial accounts or your primary email or your ticketing portal while you're near the match venues, turn off your Wi Fi. Turn it off completely. Rely only on your encrypted cellular data network or use a highly reputable paid virtual private network, a VPN, to wrap your traffic in really strong encryption. Do not broadcast your private financial life to some malicious actor sitting 3 benches away from you with a laptop or a pineapple, whatever you called it.
I think that's great advice anytime, but especially in this high traffic zones where bad actors or scammers are targeting because they know what's possible with these big types of events.
Yeah. I almost never use public Wi Fi. Even when I'm working in my little local cafe, I just hotspot to my phone. Okay, so much for the technical stuff. Now, let's transition and take a look at the psychological impact of these kinds of fraud. Because the reality is, if you fall victim in such a high stakes situation, losing money is only half the story. First, there's the disappointment of crushed expectations. I mean, for yourself, maybe your friends and family. And then there's the deep internal shame, the feelings of foolishness, the self blame,
Mm,
all of that. Just remember
yeah.
our discussions about financial shame. It applies so deeply here. People who lose thousands of dollars often don't report it. They don't report it to their bank, they don't report it to the police because they're too humiliated to admit they got tricked. That silent suffering really gets to me. I mean, it's exactly what allows these criminal enterprises to keep going. They actually count on you being too ashamed to report them. I think it's really important for us to separate our financial mistakes from our fundamental sense of self worth. So remember, these scammers are not bored teenagers in basements. These are well-funded criminal enterprises. They're using highly advanced industrial software and behavioral psychology specialists to manipulate you. So getting caught up in this kind of hyper-optimized trap does not make you stupid. It makes you a victim, and a victim of highly organized crime.
I honestly think that is so well said. We know based on the data that the Canadian Anti-Fraud Center puts out how underreported fraud is in Canada by a large margin. And you're right, there's so much shame and guilt that gets tied into it because you think, well, how could I have been so trusting? How could I have been fooled so easily? But these are organizations. They're almost like corporate entities whose sole purpose is to steal money. And so if you have been victimized, don't be shy to talk about it because that's the way that we can shine a spotlight on this stuff, right? Prevent other people from falling under the same traps. And I think that that's such an important message. And when you were talking about the guilt and shame, remember that there's a difference, right? Like guilt says, I made a bad call. I acted too fast without checking the domain name. And again, we've all been there. Shame says, I'm an idiot. I ruined our family vacation, whatever it is that I'm booking. I am fundamentally incapable of managing my money, which we know is a false narrative for anybody. So if you do fall prey to one of these scams, look at the objective facts of the situation. Report it immediately. Warn others in your social circle because if you've been marked, chances are someone else in your circle has been too. And then let go of that shame. You were unlucky. It happened to you. That's awful. But don't hide it because it doesn't get better.
Okay, there's another scam angle that I think we should look at, and it's targeted at people who aren't even planning to attend a game. And what we're
Oh,
talking about here is the fake lottery and promotional contest scam. So right
yeah. Here
now,
we go. Yeah.
yeah, right now, millions of Canadians, probably you too, are getting text messages and automated emails claiming to be from official tournament sponsors or international soccer associations. And the messages will tell you that your phone number or your email address was randomly selected to win a premium VIP hospitality package to the finals, complete with luxury hotel accommodation and field level seats.
Oh my gosh, me? Did I? Yeah, no, I'm never that lucky, let's be honest. Even if I got that message and it was real. Um yeah, I mean I can hear how that message goes, right? To claim your prize and finalize the ticket transfer, you need to just click this link and pay a nominal $45 processing and international customs fee via credit card.
Right in one. And when you click that link, you'll be told that all you have to do to collect your prize is, as you said, pay that nominal fee and provide your full
Mhm.
name, birth date, social insurance number, home address, and complete credit card details, all under the guise of winner verification and tax processing. But of course, you are not paying a $45 shipping fee. You are quite literally handing over a complete identity theft starter kit to the bad guys. It's a classic advance fee fraud scheme mixed up with a heavy dose of identity siphoning.
Yeah, and remember, they just kind of machine gun it because they figure, well, if you live in Toronto or Vancouver or one of these host cities, you're probably invested. So they send it to everyone. I mean, you might not even be a soccer fan, you'll get it. Just like how at tax season, they know everybody's got to file. So all of a sudden, you get all these emails about click here for your tax refund. And my first response is, huh, that's interesting. I haven't filed yet. And I'm gonna, oh, so that's nice. Um, but It's interesting, right? Because it plays directly into that deep human desire for a windfall, right? The idea of getting something really valuable for free. I think that's why people play the lottery, right? Like I mentioned, like that tax refund psychology. When people think they're receiving found money, even though technically it's their money, and we've talked about that, their standard risk aversion completely drops, and they make choices they would never dream of making in a normal frame of mind. Now, we have to establish an ironclad rule for our digital lives. If you did not explicitly buy a ticket or enter a specific verified contest yourself, and I like to think you would remember them, unless you're one of those people that, pretty much sign up for everything, you have mathematically 0% chance of winning a prize. Period. No international sports federation is randomly selecting Canadian cell phone numbers to hand out $5,000 hospitality packages. Probably more, actually, if it's a hospitality package, out of pure algorithmic generosity.
They really are not. It sounds so simple and logical when we sit here in a quiet room and we say it out loud, right? But when that
hmm
text message hits your phone with official branding graphics and a flashing notification banner, it just triggers this immediate emotional spike. And your brain wants it to be true so desperately that it actively starts arguing against your internal skepticism.
Yeah. It's funny because for me, the reverse is true. I just want to share a random sidebar here. Because I'm just one of those people that just never wins, right? Like in school, in life, whenever there's a draw, I have like a 0% chance of winning. So I don't know if everybody remembers, but Air Canada had this 75th year anniversary where they gave out
Million miles.
75, yeah, or not million miles, but they were giving out like plane tickets. So there was like a handful of in Canada, handful in Europe, 15 to Australia, New Zealand, whatever, whatever. And I had entered it. And like 6 months later, I get the most bland email possible. Okay. There was maybe a small Air Canada logo on this page that I had won what I entered. And I completely deleted it. Just disregard. I'm like, oh, that's total scam. Uh, But then, of course, 2 days later, I thought about it, and I'm like, "Well, I did enter this. What if I actually won?" So then I went on the official website, and it actually lists my name as a winner. So then I had to dig up this email I deleted, because I had won a trip to Australia, but it was because it was so foreign to me, the concept that I had won anything, that I just straight up deleted it. But anyways, so
So
yes, I
wait a
think
minute. Little Miss, I never win anything here, won a trip to Australia.
yes. I mean, maybe it was like 25 years, 30 years of winning nothing in my life, right? Like you hoard karma. Is that a thing? I couldn't even win a dollar store ring kind of thing. Like that's just how sad my inability to win draws is. That's why I never enter them because it's really sad. But yes, so I feel like that's all the karma, and probably I'll have to wait another, quarter of a century, before I'll win anything else. But for normal people who win occasionally, we need to actively install like structural friction into our financial lives because I think what's important is giving yourself some time between something immediate, like, "Oh, you won something," and then going off and paying for it thinking it's real.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's take a look at how we can protect ourselves from all the fakery. What can we all do to get through the FIFA fraud risks safely?
Okay, so first of all, absolute domain vigilance. Never under any circumstances click on a link in an email, a text message, or a social media post to buy tournament tickets or merchandise. If you want merch, if you want tickets, you go to the official platform directly, period. That means no links. You type the exact URL, FIFA.com, directly into your browser manually. Look really closely at the address bar of any email you receive, because even if you sent one to the official FIFA site, you could get an email that looks like it's a response to that, but is actually fake. So look at the address bar. Scammers use this technique called, are you ready for this? Typosquatting. I love the
Oh,
poetic
God.
language of this. Typosquatting.
It's
And
the
that's where
visual
they,
I have a
yeah,
problem with.
so that's where they register domain names like FIFA-tickets-canada.com, or they change a single letter to, say, a Cyrillic character that looks
Mm.
identical to a standard English letter in the browser window. So if the domain has an extra hyphen, an odd suffix, isn't explicitly hosted on the core verified global platform, close the tab immediately.
I think the second I would look at total payment isolation. So if you are purchasing tournament adjacent services like a rental car, local tour packages, or a team souvenir, always use a credit card that offers robust institutional purchase protection and zero liability fraud clauses. Better yet, and this is kind of neat, some Canadian banks now allow you to generate a temporary single use virtual credit card number inside their mobile banking apps. So you can set spending limits of, let's say $100 on that virtual card, use it to buy your jersey online. And even if that data is stolen and compromised, the card number expires instantly after that single transaction. It completely neutralizes their ability to execute subsequent unauthorized charges, and never, ever use a debit card for online transactions of this nature. You're just setting yourself up for bad actors to steal directly from your account. And it's an absolute nightmare to recover from that from your bank compared to disputing a fraudulent line item on your credit card statement.
I would say I would think really hard before I would use a debit card actually for any online transaction. Never mind not just for FIFA. I don't like doing transactions with my debit card. Am I weird that way?
Well, all the Interact ads would try to convince you otherwise. Yeah, I am on the same wavelength as you. I don't actually like to use my debit card because if at all it gets compromised, you're pretty much up shit's creek. Um, but I think one of the reasons people do rely on their debit cards, it's the idea that you're not spending money you don't have.
Yeah.
Whereas if you use a credit card, you have, in many cases, a very large limit. um, it's easily solvable, right? Just change your credit card limit to what's in your debit card and then call that a day. But I do think there are people who use it for specific reasons. What is interesting, though, is that in North America, we have higher usages of credit card than, let's say, Europe. Europeans love debit cards, it's a very cultural thing. I have some friends who are visiting from Amsterdam, and I noticed that they tend to use their debit cards more than their credit cards, but they might have different protections that we don't, right? Because I can tell you the number of horror stories where someone's debit card gets compromised. The scammers can take out probably $300 to $1,000 a day, and that's money that is really hard to recuperate.
Okay. Yeah. So back to what we were talking about, the third thing I think that we can do to protect ourselves is establish strong account authentication infrastructure. So if you're going to a game, go into your official ticketing platform accounts right now, today, before any game day arrives. Turn on multi-factor authentication, MFA. And what that means is that any login attempt from a new device requires a second verification code that gets sent directly to your secure authenticator app if you've got one, or your phone number or text or whatever, however you've got it set up. But the whole point is you have a second one. And that way, if a credential harvesting site does manage to trick you into typing your password, they can't get your actual ticket wallet without that rotating secondary code. So it gives you an incredibly strong layer of digital armor around your assets.
Yeah, and I know a lot of us go, "Oh my God, MFA, it's so tedious. Every time I log in, I have to get a text." But it's better than getting your stuff stolen. That's all I have to say. Okay, and finally, let's talk about the physical safety of your cards and devices. If you're actually going to be inside the stadium footprint or in massive public viewing parks, and who knows, maybe we will revisit this topic next week. We'll see, because this has happened to me personally. And yeah, like pickpocketing and physical crowding theft syndicates travel internationally to follow these massive sporting events. They love target rich environments where thousands of distracted people are looking up at giant screens or cheering a goal, whatever, and they'll use RFID, so that's radio frequency ID skimming devices that could read the unencrypted contactless payment data right through your jeans pockets if you carry your cards loosely.
Yeah, so it's a really good idea to use a protective RFID blocking wallet and keep your phone really securely zipped in an internal pocket rather than your loose back pocket. Don't pull out your wallet to display a whole bunch of money in a public crowded place. Just treat your phone like a payment device because that's what it is. So use the exact same care that you would if you were traveling through any high theft international transit hub. And ladies, I really recommend a purse or bag that's slash proof. I say this as someone who had her favorite purse slashed open in downtown Montreal. They didn't get my wallet, but they ruined a really nice bag.
And I would also say maybe for the men too. I mean, men can carry bags, although I feel like they probably get slashed less. I don't know. I'm gonna have to look that one up. Okay. So really, the point that we're trying to make is that it's about being aware and not letting emotions override your financial good sense. Don't let some criminal enterprise exploit your passion and turn a wonderful summer experience into a flippin' financial nightmare.
Okay, 3 key learnings for today.
First, extreme scarcity makes us feel extremely vulnerable. Remember that countdown timers, high pressure reseller language, and emotional urgency are tools that are being used very deliberately to break down your barriers and act before your logical brain can step in and analyze the risks. Slow down the transaction. Give yourself a couple of minutes to think. If a seller won't let you pause and verify the details, walk away permanently.
Second, in the digital world, fakes look absolutely identical to the real thing. Don't trust the clean graphic designs, the official corporate logos, the sponsored ad placements on your social media feeds. Only trust verified manual URL navigation and multi-factor authentication systems. Treat any resale ticket that is not transferred directly through the official app as a complete red flag.
Finally, remember the ancient golden rule of personal finance that never fails. If an offer for luxury pavilion seats, a prime downtown condo rental, or a final match ticket sounds too good to be true, it is mathematically and operationally a guarantee of a scam. Don't let your profound love or desperation for the beautiful game cloud your structural financial judgment.
And that's us for today. So, will you be attending any FIFA games? Are there fishy looking World Cup merch or discount ticket ads popping up on your personal feeds? If you've run into any sketchy situations, or if you want to share your strategy for staying digitally safe during the tournament rush, drop us a line or 10 at notjustmoneypodcast@gmail.com.
Go Canada! Good talk.
You've been listening to Not Just Money with Doretta and Lee. Click on the show's description for links to resources related to today's conversation. Our aim is to share sources that provide objective information that can help you make informed financial decisions. Please rate and review our show. If you'd like to get in touch with us, email us at notjustmoneypodcast@gmail.com. If you'd like to be featured on the show, you can send us your questions and comments by a written email, audio file, or video file. Please include your name and city. This show is produced and edited by Lee, with original music by Leo Zhang cello and artwork by John Tu. Now for some legalese. Please note that the views expressed by our hosts and guests are theirs alone and should not be viewed as financial advice. This podcast is intended to be entertainment and educational in nature. Please seek additional professional support or information before acting on any podcast information. As always, good talk.